Thank you for joining me. This was another great trading day today. We had multiple stocks up over 100%. I traded one of those, which was PAVM, and so you'll see the full trading recap after this overview. But traded PAVM ended up $1,387.10. You can see that here in my position summary. I caught this really nice move from 18, added to 1898, and caught this move up to 24.49. Over here on my position monitor, you can see my best exit was right here at 2370. If I move this over, you can see that best fill. Now, I did try this a couple of other times prior, and this speaks to learning, growing, practice, kind of all of those things together. I was looking for this histogram to stay small and then flip. And as we held the 21 EMA, I got really interested on this first candle right here at 17. This first candle is 9:24 a.m. and the entry should have been 1750. The issue is I ended up entering at 18, so I gave it too much room, entered late at 18, and subsequently ended up selling at 1736 for a small loss. Then I tried it again at the 927 and 928 candles, also approaching 18, when those entries should have been closer like 1769, so just above this kind of prior 1 minute candle. And sold that for a small loss. So two stabs at it, two reds, and really the patience to wait for this histogram to bottom out and look like it's transitioning. I'm not as worried about the strong bear histogram on the TTM if we're holding the 21. If we're holding the 21, that's actually a good sign to me that we might be looking to flip weak bear and get the move. So I continued to stay patient and focused on the stock as it came into the market open. Pre-market high was up here just under $20 a share. And so as this curled back up and kept holding the 21, I took my entry at 1810 right at 930. So this hit 1810 right there. I ended up taking my initial position, that was 500 shares. I added up at 1898, which was about right here. So I added 1898, and then now my average cost was right around 1850. I took my first exit at 1992, and that was on the 933 candle, which is this one. So at 1992, about right there is where I took my first exit there, and took half off. So that was locked in a nice gain there. And then I was looking for this next leg higher. I had the green candles, we were holding the ADMA, and so at 935 I took a little more off at 2138. So if we go to the 935 candle, that's right here. So 2138, I took another 250 shares off, and then we halted up here and resumed at 942. So on the 942 resumption, I ended up taking another 125 shares off at 2302, and then I had my best exit at 2370 on the 944 candle, which was this one right here, 944. So I saw these topping tails coming in on the unhalt, wanted to be out, and then I assumed break even on the final 65 shares or the loss of the 8. Now you can see we lost the ADMA here, but I was watching this bottom, and when we regained, I had a limit order at 2350 to sell. You can see that in the live trading recap. But that limit order didn't end up filling, so then when we pulled back below the 8, I took the rest off and locked in a nice $1,387.10 day. Hope you enjoyed this live trading recap. If you're trading today, hopefully you ended the day green. Wishing you all the very best. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Good morning. Thanks for joining. So we are here in the pre-market this morning. There are a couple different stocks that have gone off or are going off on the scanner. Right now, the top leading gainer is SLGB, which I have here on my chart, and it's been a pretty nice mover. I just sat down at the computer, so I haven't traded anything yet this morning. Just sitting down and looking at what's going off on the scanner. I'm watching the smaller bearish histogram right here to see if this is going to flip back to weak bear and maybe give us a little bit of a push into the market open. That's on SLGB. The other stock that's been moving really actively is PAVM. It's up 194% right now and had a really nice move. So I've missed this. I just sat down, as I mentioned, and it's already made this big move. So I'm not interested in this up here. I'd be looking more for this to pull back, hold the 21 EMA, give a little consolidation, and then maybe look for an opportunity there. But we've done this transition from weak bear to strong bull already. And so really, in an ideal scenario, I'd be entering around 1375 or at a max maybe up here around 15. there was a little pullback here around 16 as an entry as well, but it's already had one and now a second pullback. And so I'm not going to look to take the third pullback. That's just, if I can't be in down here lower, then I don't want to be really taking the positions way up high. So let's switch back to SLGB. Again, this is the leading gainer right now. So I'm just watching SLGB. We've got a pivot up here around 14.16, and then another pivot about 14.16, 14.20. You've got kind of two little topping pivots right there. If you could break through those, then reasonably you could be reapproaching the pre-market high. So that'd kind of be the thought process there. A couple of other stocks, BOXL has moved up this morning. It's up 80% right now. BOXL had a big move here. Pre-market from basically $1.62 up to $3.32, but it's pulled back pretty sharply now. We've also got some descending resistance here from $3.32. So we would need to break through that descending resistance, which is right about where the VWAP is, to see anything potentially higher. So PAVM, again, really nice move back here from $7 all the way up to now 19, almost $20 a share. That is really, really great. On the 5-minute as well, a little extended, got a topping tail, like a shooting star candle on the 5-minute. If I switch to the 5-minute, you'll be able to see that here. So this longer top, kind of like a shooting star candle. We got this really long top up, and then it's been sold back down. That's a 5-minute chart there. Let's switch back to the 1-minute. SLGB pulling back a little more here now. So I'm not interested in SLGB if it's below these EMAs. It definitely needs to hold VWAP if it's going to have a shot at anything else. This may give some additional attention back to PAVM. If SLGB is going to sell off like that, I might see PAVM hold. On the daily chart, as I look at the daily chart, so there was a resistance at 18, there's resistance at 2070. These are kind of the more notable daily peaks, if you will. So 18, and then again up at 2070. Just mark those out kind of close. So 18, 2070. Then from there, you'd probably be looking at 2340 and then 25. So it's got some pretty nice opportunities here, 2340 and then 25. So I'm watching it here. It's holding the EMA nicely, which it looks good. So we're watching this. This is holding 18 right along here. So we've got another stock going off on the scanner here, SEGG. This is the big one that I traded yesterday and did well on. You can see it made this really big move up to 465. Pulled all the way back down to $1.60. Now we're hitting $2 a share. And there could be some shorts, stuck in this. But probably not as interested in SEGG. There's not a lot of daily volume today. Part of that's because the volume yesterday was so high. PAVM has pulled back, touched the 21 EMA there. That's kind of interesting. So I'm watching PAVM here. The low of that touch was 1685. MACD's closed here, so I'm just going to wait. I'm not going to look for an opportunity on this right now. If this pops back up above, so 1807 is the high of the prior candle. So that would be a little interesting above. If it broke back through, that'd be that first 1-minute candle to make a new high. The stop loss would have to be fairly tight, like 1750. I wouldn't want to give this a ton of room. And ultimately, I just don't love that I missed this entry down here along the 21 EMA on this transition, and we're kind of weak bull trending down here. So I just found over time, if I get in on this weak bull trend down, sometimes it'll just fade. And I really like this type of setup better, where we get this consolidation, pops back up above, we're weak bear, and then it holds the 21, and you get a nice release of that squeeze. So I'd rather sit on the sidelines here and just see if there will be other opportunities that come up throughout the morning. So early in the day still, I don't want to get too anxious and jump in anything unnecessarily here. So I'm also watching the 5-minute candle here on PAVM. We've got about 2 minutes, 45 seconds left. And if I go over to the 5-minute, you can see how it's setting up, like kind of setting up this little bull flag pattern here. This larger topping tail is a little annoying on this setup. It'd be better if it was lower, and then you were getting a little bit of this kind of bull flag pennant, and then look for a push higher on the first 5-minute candle to make a new high. So we just have to be patient and see. We're still downtrending, kind of weak bull. MACD's closed. We're holding the 21 EMA, which is great. It actually wouldn't be bad if this, kind of dropped below, held, gave the EMAs a chance to just tighten up, and then we transition again on this histogram similarly from this yellow weak bear back to strong bull. So we'll just keep an eye on this. This seems to be what's mostly on the radar right now. SLGB is still the leading gainer. It's at 372. So if we switch over to SLGB, it's below its EMAs right now. So I've got my double charts up here now. Try to kind of watch both of these coming into the market open here. PAVM's got a minute left on the current 5-minute chart. Lighter selling volume, meaning the volume bars that are red are smaller volume bars than the green ones prior, so that's a good sign. A little push up to 1750. Still watching this here. I'm going to take an entry there. Looks like we're going to push through 18. And now I'm going to assume back of mind my stop loss is basically 1750. So I entered there at 18, and 1750 is what I'm kind of thinking back of mind stop loss. I may give it till 1740. We pop back up above the 80 EMA there, which is good. If we can get some more momentum here, then I'll look to add to this position. So right now, average cost is 18. Probably would have been better to be back in around the 1750s with that 21 EMA holding down around 1726. There's 1752. Let's see if this will hold. Okay, and I'm out there. So I got out. My exit was 1736. So just too premature there. Kind of got that little pop, and then now you can see that selling pressure. Now this is still trying to hold the 21. I'm watching the TTM. We're strong bear right now. So we did get that flip. I thought maybe this would flip from this weak bull mid compression squeeze and maybe flip us right back to strong bull and get that push up through 18 and then up to 1850 to test up here. But that's not what happened. So I'll just sit patient, watch. Small to loser right there, 320 share at $320. So let's see where. Okay, so that held the 21 pretty nice there. I added back in. So I'm in at 18 again. I held the 21 down there at 1728. And just see what happens with this. Kind of right up to that 18 and then a pullback. Looking for this histogram to transition back to weak bear and then ideally strong bull. But just watching here, we're holding the 80 EMA now. There's 1810 on the ask. That looks good. 1820, 36 good. The add there. Average cost is 1818 now. Looking for the push up to 1850. A little deeper pullback there. Kind of a bigger topping tail on that. So just watching here. Okay, I got to take my exit there. So kind of two fakes there. It's just held the 21 again. So being a little tricky here. I've got two red trades in a row on it, so not a huge fan of that. Looks like I'm probably just too early on looking for the reversal. We're still strong bear down on the histogram. We are in a mid compression squeeze, and I'm probably just in a little too early. I do like that we keep holding the 21. There's 1808. And I should probably be looking for an entry around 1750. There's 1773 on the bid. 1804. So I took an entry right there, 1810. Looking for this curl up, so we'll see if we can get up to 1850. So I'm in at 1810. There's 1850, 49. So still in here. Just watching this curl up. 1838, 1885. There we go. That's a nice push. Gonna add there. Now 1920. Good. Let's see if we can get a push up through a new high day and maybe a halt. 1921. So I'm up 500 right now. I'm just holding here. Trying to be patient. Average cost is 1854. We're looking for a transition back. So still holding. We're trying to get that weak bear flip back here now. 1930 good, 1950 good. Let's see if we can get a squeeze up through pre-market high. So I'm up 760 now. There's 19. Pretty big pullback there. I'm still holding here. There's 19. 19 on the ask again. Back to 18. So we're holding the 80 EMA there, trying to transition to strong bull. So I've got a kind of a cup and handle here, maybe potentially forming. So there's a cup on the 1 minute. You can see this cup right here. And then if this can draw out a handle, it's going to be a nice trade. So there's 1920. I'm still in 1930. 10,000 share seller there at 1930. There's 19. We could get a first 1 minute candle to make a new high. This could be a nice push here. So we're up there 19. Halt level is 2060. This could rip up there real quick. There we go, 2060. Let's see if we can get into halt. So still holding here. 2050, 2080. Good. Let's see if this halts. This looks good at the halt level. See if these buyers stack up here. 2081, 2054. Kind of a false halt there. I'm going to take half off. So I took half off there. 2080. It kind of false halted there. So there's another kind of dip. Big sellers there. Just watching this again. So I took half off. Still holding. We've transitioned here on our histogram to strong bull. My average cost now is 19, so I got to be mindful of that. Since I did the add, I'm in a little higher. Still not bad though. We're holding, trying to hold 20 here. That's a pre-market high, so we can hold that pre-market high. We could get another little push higher, which would be great. Longer bottoming tail there shows some buying interest here at this price. PAVM is definitely the leading gainer right now. It's up 215%. Watching our 2040, this looks good. So now I'm looking to see if I can add back. So my average cost is 19, so I can't give it a ton of room, but I'm kind of treating this as a new breakout. And if we can put in a little bull flag here and get a first 1 minute candle to make a new high, this could get really interesting. But I'm assuming break even on my final 500 shares here, meaning that if we pull back even around probably 1930, I'm definitely bailing because this can pop down pretty quickly on us. Bigger spreads, you can see it's usually 20 to 30 cent spread, and just being aware of that as you're trading these higher price stocks is important because you can get eaten up on the spread pretty quickly. So 2030, we're trying to hold that $20. So the current high of this candle is 2042. If I add back, I'm going to add smaller. Oh, there we go. 2138. That went right into the halt. Still holding here. There's 2138. I'm going to buy in 200 shares, see if that'll fill as we go into the halt. Nope, didn't go. Oh, that had me at 2080. Never mind, I'll take that order off. So we'll see if we halt it up here. This is 2138. So I'm going to go ahead and take half off right there. So I've got 250 shares left. Locked in. Okay, kind of false halt right there at 2138. There's 2160. The halt levels moved at 2181. That was a nice first 1 minute candle to make new high. Pretty quick trade, 2040 to 2160. So we would have needed to be pretty fast on that. These higher price stocks, they really move quick, so it can be tough to get your timing just right. Average cost is still 19, so I haven't added back here at all. I've got 250 shares left. I'm up 465 locked in. Got 465 on the table, unrealized gains. So there we go. There's another push up halt level there, 2214. Kind of right into the halt level. Still in. Just holding. We've got these green candles, so I'm really just trying to focus on holding. Looks like this might get into the halt level. We're getting a little bit of buyer stacked up there. Now they just got all that all got sold into there. So halt level is now 2256, right into the halt level again. So 2341 is our next kind of daily look at. Getting a little more buying stacked here at 2256, but those looks like the sellers are selling into them here. So I'm still in half my position. Okay, and that actually did halt. So we're halted there at 2256. You can see right now our resumption price is showing 23. Few false halts there. There was one false halt here. We had another false halt on this candle, and then finally false halted at like 2180, then pushed up to this 2256 and halted now officially. So I'm still in. I've got 250 shares here. Right now this is showing now a lower resumption, but then back up to 2257. So approximate resume time on this is going to be 9:42 and 11 seconds. I feel really good about this position. I've taken 3/4 off, and while we've continued to make this nice move higher, you can see on these higher price stocks they've got quite a bit of range. And so, in reality, it's not my comfort zone to trade things that are well up into this price range. So I take the size way smaller. I'm looking to be a little bit more proactive to exit, and I had a nice position coming into kind of this first false halt. If you were able to take that first 1 minute candle to make a new high right there at 2046 with the pre-market high holding, then that's a nice trade for you. You're up $2 a share right now, potentially if you held. And we're at 2256, which is our current halt level. So we should be resuming here in about 4 minutes, or about 3 minutes, and we'll see where we go with the resumption. Because we had a little resumption lower there. I held through that pullback because of my average cost. So we're now clear up at 24. So this is looking really nice so far. I'm at $1,200 open position. We just hit 24, 2363. So I'm going to take half off right there. So I've got 125 shares left. And still strong bull on the histogram, which is nice. So I took half off there at 2302. There's 24 again, 2430. We could get some really nice legs on this. I'm going to just work to try to hold this position as long as I can now. There's 2350. There's a bigger seller right there, 2347, 12,000 shares. So 2347, there's a 12,000 share seller there. A little bit of a topping tail here, up through 24. So at this point, I'm going to set my sell limit. I'm going to set my sell limit at 2370 for the final position. So I'm going to run this up to 2370. Oh, there's 24, so it actually would be over that. I haven't set that sell limit just yet. So our next target is this 2504. That was on the daily. So I'm going to take 60 more shares off there at 2370. See if we kind of get that pop back up to 2370 and test that 24. Ideally, I don't want to be selling down here at these bottom wicks. I'd rather try to see if we can get an extension up. But again, my average cost is so beneficial right now. See, I'm in at 19, and we're clear up at 23, so I can give this a little bit of room. I don't want to give back a lot. I'm kind of keeping in mind that if we break our halt level at 22.60, I should probably exit the remainder here. So right down there to the halt level, 22, there's 23 on the ask, so I'm watching this ask price and the bid price. There's 23. Let's try to hold that halt level. This could give another first 1 minute candle to make a new high on this breakout. PAVM up 191% right here. So there we lost that. There we lost that halt level. 21 EMA is there at 21.93. Again, I've still got my sell limit up there at 23.70. That's for 60 shares. So that just filled. There's a big push up back up to 24. That was a nice exit. 23.70 on the exit. We're now 23.93. There's a big seller there. 12,000 shares, 23.50. That's getting bought up. There's 23.57. So let's see if this pushes any higher here. So I still have 65 shares left. We held the ADMA. Now I'm kind of watching again. So I've got 1, 2, 3, and our fourth sideways candle here. We did double top there, 24.90, if I'm not mistaken. That high is 24.49, sorry, and 24.45. So kind of a little bit of a double top right there around 24.50. So still watching this here. I've got 65 shares left. I'll probably put in this next sell limit at 24. So I'm going to go 23.70 then. And again, I do like that we're still holding the ADMA, so I'm going to try to be patient here. This is kind of that, expect to be uncomfortable concept. I also have to keep in mind that I need a stop loss because I don't want to be stuck in a big move down necessarily, but I want to try to be selling closer up here into these topping tails. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a sell limit for the rest of my position up there at 23.70 again. See if we get, a hold and then one more push back up. So that's what I'm watching for right now. There's 23. 23 still. I'm just watching the price action here. So there's a little bit, if we lose the 8, I'll be out. That's kind of what I'm treating as my stop loss. If we lose the ADMA, meaning we get a close below the ADMA, then I'll take this final 65 shares off. And right now we're holding that, so just working to be patient here. And probably what I'll try to do is move my sell limit down to, probably go 23.50 on this. So I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to go 23.28. There's 23.50. So I've got that sell limit there at 23.50. And what I'm kind of looking at is this 23.41. If we can get a candle to just, if there's some support that comes in here and we get some buying, then if I get taken out up here, then that's fine. We could be in for a push to high of day, and I would be sitting on the sideline potentially. But we are holding the 8. My exit's 23.50. I'm going to watch the price action here. If this moves really aggressively, then I may cancel that sell order and just see what we get. We're still holding the 8. Still the leading gainer. Well, it's tied. This is up 191, and SLGB is up 191% as well. So I've got that sell limit up there, 23.50. We're trying to hold the 8. You can see we're spending a lot of time down here at 22.36, 22.30 range. There's kind of a nice push. Let's see if this pushes up and gets us a curl back up to 23.50. There's 23.10. Let's see if this will push any higher. There's 23.09. Back to that 22.70. So we're running into some trouble there at 23. Like I said, I've got my sell limit right now over here at 23.50. Oh, big pullback there. Okay, so I'm out there. Like I said, if we really looked like we were going to close below the 8, which it looks like this candle will, in addition to that's our first red candle. So I took my exit there at 21.04. And like I said, I don't love, the low of that candle was 21, so I sold almost at the low. And yeah, I suppose one could argue, well, put a sell limit back up here at the 8. I had my sell limit at 23.50. This hit a high of 23.13. So I'm out of the trade now. 21.04 exit. I had 65 shares there. So I'm really trying to stay process focused and make it a little bit less about, what money I left on the table. And as I mentioned, if we lost the 8, I wanted to be out. We did lose the 8. Here we closed right on the 8. We got to close above, another close above, and I had that sell limit at 23.50, thinking, okay, maybe we'll get that push back up and kind of a test of 23.50, and that'll take me off. It didn't, and so on this pullback here, officially we did close below the 8, and then I got out there. So really nice trade, $1,387. I started out red on this and had a couple of red trades. You can see first attempt at 18, sold 17.36. Tried these here again at 18, sold 17.45, and then this is the trade that worked out nicely. So in at 18.10, added at 18.98 to cap off at 19.92, and then was able to take the rest off 21.38. 2302, 2370, and the final 65 at 2104. So best exit on that, 2370, which was 60 shares on the 944 candle. which is right here. So once this kind of put in this high and we got a doji candle, I had that in at 23.70. That did fill, and it took me out of the trade there, which was really nice. And then we did get a little push higher. And right now we're trying to hold the 21, but I don't know that I'm going to look to go back on this. Still the leading gainer. You're getting kind of a nice 5-minute candle setup here. The red volume candles are smaller than the 3 prior greens, and this is kind of being bought up. There's 22. This may actually hit 23.50, which would be kind of comical considering that's where my sell order was. But yeah, we held the 21, and this is now pushing up 23.41. So we held the 21. I pushed back up above the 8. There you go, 23.80. So that would have taken me out, which is fine. I'm not worried about that. I don't overstay my welcome. I've got a nice $1,300 winner on the day, and kind of a pullback there. So you can see as that's running back up towards that 24.49, we're getting a little bit of selling. But if this breaks 24.45, 24.49, so that 24.50 level, you could get a push higher. I mean, next level from that, we talked about 25.11, so I got a 25.04 there, 25.13, quite a bit of resistance right there at 25. So there's 2 peaks at 25. I would totally count that as critical level, and then 26.85. So from 25, kind of 26.85 would be the next. I'll just draw that one in just because we're still here. Kind of 26.85 would be the next interest. PAVM is all we're trading, so I'm going to go over to PAVM. Watch it here on the bigger screen. So back in the mid-compression squeeze here. This looks actually pretty interesting. Got another little bit of, not quite as much of a cup and handle as this move right here. So cup and then this little handle. Although the handle was above the pre-market high, so maybe not as clean. Typically you'd have this cup and then your handle would be lower and then break. This isn't really as clean looking of a cup as the prior. You can see that smaller histogram. That worked out really nice. So like I mentioned, resistance at 25. There's 2 different days that hit that. And then your next level is 26.85. If we draw that in right up here. So we'll draw that in. And then, and you've got 2 days kind of around that, 26.85, 26.92. So basically 27 is what you're looking at. So again, I don't want to overstay my welcome and give a bunch back because I'm trying to create something, make something be there that's not there. So at this point, I'm content to sit out. We're strong, or we're weak bull trending down. We do have this mid-compression squeeze. I like to look at that. MACD is currently closed. And so I'm just seeing if this holds the 21 again, and then it kind of needs a little bit of consolidation. The 5-minute chart still really looks nice. We do have a red doji on the 5-minute, which was a little bit heavier selling volume on that 5-minute. It was on the 9.45 candle. So we're just kind of consolidating on the 5-minute here. And there's 3 minutes left on the current 5-minute. If this current 5-minute doesn't get too big and too red, then a breakthrough 23.20 could be pretty interesting. That would be the first 5-minute candle to make a new high. So let me show you the 5-minute. There's a little bit of a, there we go. So you can kind of see we're getting, if I zoom in on this, we're getting kind of this little flag pattern here. So kind of like that and that. So a little bit of a, it's kind of more of a wedge. But if we can get, if this closes and stays reasonably close to the high of 23.20, that looks like that might be breaking structure there. There's 20.57. It looks like that's right into halt, actually. Pull up our level 2 and see what that's doing. Yeah, sure enough. So there's a halt down, 20.57. Okay, so I'm going to call it here. That ended up being a really good trade. I'll pull back up my level 2 so you can just see where my entries and exits were. I kind of want to just highlight a couple things. And this speaks to just timing and maybe being a little early. So my first entry was on this 924 candle right here. And that's as we popped back up above. So basically we put in this high. We zoom in the chart just a little here. So at 924, I took my first entry at 18. And that ended up being basically right up here. So the better move, of course, would have been this entry right at 1750. And I waited too long. 1750 entry actually probably would have allowed me to stay in through these other tails down. This one would have been a little tough down to 1710, but I've been risking about 50 cents a share. And this speaks to timing and taking the entry at the appropriate price. The appropriate price was 1750. I waited, and this got clear up to 18. So then I'm selling for a loss at 736. On the 927 candle, which is right here, this is 1767. So this would have been another viable entry, 1767 just above this 1-minute candle, and then a stop loss down here at 1710. Again, that's about 50 cents. And I went in 1835, which was on this next candle at 928. And then ended up selling for a loss 1745, which was on the 929 candle, which is right here. So unfortunately, that ended up being the absolute low, and that's where I was out, at which point the stock recovered and we got this nice move. So, you know, a little bit early on those two, we were still strong bear. I'm not so worried about the strong bear if we're holding the 21 EMA, because this is a lagging indicator. The squeeze is a lagging indicator, just like the MACD. So if I'm watching the actual price action and I can see that we're holding the 21, then I need to be looking for kind of these bottoming tails, which is pretty much through the 1720 to kind of 1750 range. So if we're holding the 21 and I can take something there 1720, 1750, now all of a sudden, you know, an add at 18 and a push higher is a lot more palatable, and you reduce your risk on the downside. So with that said, I did get this great entry at 930, which was at 1810. That's right there. So I did much better on the execution of that. As we came up, I took that break of the 1-minute candle right there, making a new high from the prior candle, and then added at 1898, which is up here towards the top.
Sat through this little pullback. My break even was around 1840, and just kind of watched. We were holding the EMA, getting this transition, so I waited on that. Ended up taking my exit at 992, which was awesome. So that was $1 share. Did that at 930 on the 933 candle. So that's right here on this 933 candle. So I took that exit right at the 1992, and then this made another nice break, fresh breakout, first 1 minute candle to make a new high at 2041, and then I started scaling out. So 2138 took another half off, or another 250 shares. Then we got some really nice price action. So this halted 942. So that halted right there on the 935 candle. Excuse me, right here on this candle, halted 935, 936. So I took a portion off 2138. Then on the unhalt, I got some more out at 2302, and then on the 944 candle, which was right here, at my best exit at 2370. So just in reference to where we kind of peaked out. So 2370 was my best exit, and then I was holding this as long as we were holding the 8. We did barely close below the 8 there, but then we popped back up above, and I thought we'd get 2350, so I had a sell limit at 2350. It didn't happen. When we lost it here, I was out the rest at 2104. Subsequently, we did get a little hold of the 21 and another pop back up, but that was all right. Ended up being a fantastic trading day for me. That's the only stock that I traded. At the time, it was between the first and second leading gainer. Really nice volume, really nice push, all the way from basically 18 clear up to 24. That's a really nice move. So I was able to capitalize on that. Ended up $1,387.10 positive on the day, and looking forward to the recap. I'll post this for the live trading recap, and then looking forward to another great trading day tomorrow. Everybody stay safe and have a great day.